I am concerned, though, that these may not be the right circumstances. And I'm specifically addressing our own budget problems right now. One of the things that I think any municipality should consider seriously is whether or not it is prepared to financially support a school system. Based upon the condition of our own budget right now and my concern about future budgets for the city of Millington, I'm certainly not convinced that the city is prepared or is able to support a school system in the future. We haven't had much chance to talk since our last meeting, but we have gotten more information regarding our certified tax rate. And right now, John feels that fairly confident that it's going to be 1.34. Is that correct, John? That's correct. And that would be the rate that we would have to go to for a leveling effect. In other words, just to keep exactly what we had before. Also, since the last meeting, we have worked even harder on our proposed budget for next year, following the direction of the board. And at present, our budget includes 9 layoffs. It also includes cost reductions of about $95,000 in wage reversals and wage cuts as intended by the board. And with all of that, we are still projecting right now about $838,000 out of balance. Now assuming, and this is a board decision, but assuming that the board wants to address the out of balance situation for the new budget, half and half with property tax increase and 1/2 with the use of fund balance, that half for the property tax would be a 26-cent increase in property tax. Now, as all of you all know, that would also be in addition to whatever the county is proposing as far as the actual hit on your taxpayers. The other concern I have is this is a bare bones budget because we have absolutely no funds included in this budget for capital. We have nothing in this budget for paving. We have nothing for economic development. We have nothing for capital road projects, which Derek has been working on for some time in the region. And in fact, we have absolutely nothing in the budget for grants unless the board chose to actually use additional fund balance as the matching portion of any grants that we might receive. The long and short of it is, I would love for the taxpayers to have their democratic right to decide whether or not they want schools, but I also want them to be assured that their city is going to be able to fund them appropriately. And I just can't be convinced of that with the budget and the situation it is now, nor can I be convinced of that looking into next year as well. What will change between now and next year? We know that our revenues are not likely to show any substantial improvement. We know that our expenditures, our costs for goods and services will go up. We may very well be looking at a similar budget situation next year, perhaps the year after that. So again, I want to make it very, very clear that I'm definitely in favor of schools, but as the lady so succinctly mentioned a while ago, this may not be the time. I would much prefer for the city to get its own financial house in order, to balance its budget, get itself in good financial condition, and then seriously consider the commitment they would have to make towards schools. And that's all I have to say.
Mr. Christie, have you got a budget document that we can look at and see? Because I suspect that there's more cuts than $800,000. I'd like to see that you've got everything done.
I've got a draft one that you can see. In fact, we actually wanted to plan a work session this week.
I understand.
But the clerk was absolutely unable to do that because of all the conflicts among board members. So we've got one planned for next Tuesday. The problem is, if the board takes action on this issue tonight, the die is cast. The board is going to have to plan its budget with the assumption that the referendum may pass.
Well, absolutely. I think we all understand that. That's a given. But what concerns me is I'm not convinced that we haven't made as many cuts as we can make in this city with the budget that you're talking about. So I'd really like to see what you.
But I'm convinced.
Because we didn't get 800,000 last year. what, 200, what did we have, $62,000 in the whole year before last? How did we all, $60,000, how did we all of a sudden get this bad a shape in 1 year? I got a problem with that.
Board member, we've been through, I don't know how many meetings in which we've discussed that. We can certainly discuss it again. But the long and short of it is, it's not rocket science. Your revenues are not equal to your expenditures.
I understand.
And they haven't been for some time.
Let me make another thing clear. We hired you to fix this, okay?
And I
That's your
offered
job.
3 fixes, but the
Okay,
board
but
decided they
You
didn't
and
want to
Mr.
take
Trustee, I
advantage of
expect
it.
y'all to give us a balanced budget, tell us what it's going to be, and let us see it. Don't bring it like tonight and just tell us all of a sudden it's going to be $800,000 with all these property tax increases. Let us look at it. I'd like to see it.
Well, just to remind you, board member, I gave 3 solutions and the board didn't like any of them.
Okay, we'll give us
Those
another.
solutions required some very drastic action that the board was unwilling to take.
I understand.
And that's still a possibility if the board
A
wants
lot
to
of
change
it
its
was
mind.
not that, it was not the actions, it was the way it was done. Okay, when you got the media sitting out here with all the channel 5 and 4 and ABC looking at us wanting to make cuts, you can't do anything with the media sitting out there doing this stuff.
Well,
It's just not the way to do things.
I would hope that the board would be able to make their decisions with media scrutiny, if you're going to be transparent.
Well, I'd like to talk about schools a little bit. I mean, I'm humbled by this opportunity. Long after we're not sitting up here, you know, I'm excited about the fact that one day there's going to be a school board probably in this building. Local control is good for our schools. And if you show me a community with a good school, more than likely their population is growing.
Couldn't agree more.
And if our population was growing, we had higher population density, we wouldn't be in the budget troubles that we're in now.
That is true.
And quite frankly, I agree with you. I wish that we weren't in the budget troubles that we were in now when we were making this decision. But we are. But I challenge the board and you to think about the future, not 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. If you look at the current situation in Shelby County right now, if we don't vote for this school district, if the citizens don't vote for this school district, and we're just paving the opportunity, as Alderman Huffman said earlier, for them to do that, then we're done. I mean, if you see what the Unified School District's already done to our schools right now, they're being gutted. I would hate to see what they do in 2-3 years while we're waiting for us to get our fiscal house in order. This is about priorities. I think the first priority that we have right now is to our students, to our schools, and to the future growth of the community.
I totally agree.
And I agree with you 100%, board member. My only concern again, though, is in order to prevent the gutting that you're concerned about, you have to have the financial wherewithal.
I agree. And it's important to remember, too, that the school budget is largely separate from our city coffers. I understand that a property tax rate might be needed, and more cuts might be needed to do this. But like I said, it's about priorities, and if our citizens choose to make it a priority, then we have to do it as well. And this is just the opportunity for them to do that.
Any other discussion? Everything I want to say has been said.
Call the question.
Call the question.
Mr.
Roll
Dagan?
call.
Mr. Dagan?
Aye.
Mr. Dagan?
Aye.
Mr. McGee?
Aye.
Mr. Carruthers?
Aye.
Ms. Huffman? Mr. Hawkins?
Aye.
Motion carries.